Yes, I was eating sweet corn. Right. Let's start talking about League of Legends. So, first of all, you can see the draft on your screen. Hopefully you can all see it. What happens if I zoom in? Absolutely nothing. I can zoom in a little bit more if it's not clear. Actually, that's probably pretty good. There you go. So, let's first talk about the draft, right? So, bans. Fnatic decided to ban Sejuani, Sona, Draven. The main reason for the Sejuani ban is because she's considered really strong right now. Sona because Fnatic don't have to deal with Sona Taric. And Draven because they respect Patrick's bot lane Draven. It's also pretty good in things like Sivir, which is what Reckless really likes to play. So, like, a lot of these are respect bans, things that they just basically don't want to play against. So, like, this is a little unconventional because usually you're forced to ban meta stuff, but because Fnatic is on blue side and they get priority, it puts a little bit more pressure on Origen to ban away the OPs, which is exactly what they do. Excuse me. Yuumi is taken off the board because they don't want to give Fnatic first pick, and they know that Hylissang can probably play it. They don't want to deal with Ryze, and they ban the Aurelia ban surprised me a little bit, probably because they respect Nemesis's Aurelia, and if they're giving up Sylas, then they didn't want to pick Aurelia into the Sylas because they don't think it's a very good matchup, which is fine. So they choose to ban away the Aurelia instead, and they make the decision to trade Sylas for Aatrox. So Fnatic first picked Sylas because Sylas is really broken. On this patch, he's really, really strong, really, really versatile. You can put him in both mid and top. So Fnatic, like, easy peasy. First pick, Sylas. Happy with that. The Aatrox Xayah then return. So the thing about the Xayah is it's considered, like, by pros to be S tier right now in terms of priority. So if you're locking in Xayah, you kind of put pressure on the opponent to either have an answer to Xayah Rakan or take the Rakan away. So they trade the Sylas for the Aatrox, which makes sense because they don't want to give Fnatic 2 power picks, and they also think that Aatrox, even if it plays into the Sylas top, is a good matchup for the Aatrox, so they're fine with this. They then pick the Xayah, and then Fnatic do what Fnatic always do, and they pick Sivir, because Ruckus is really good at Sivir, and it's also just really good in the meta right now, and it also does pretty well into Xayah, and then they take away the Rakan. Now, I think that this makes the most sense for Fnatic as a team, just because Hylissang as a player is a really good Rakan player. And like Sivir Rakan I think is a fine duo, but they don't play this to win the 2v2. They play this because Sivir is like a pretty good champion in terms of like 1v2 because of the amount of wave clear that she has. It's really difficult to catch her out because she has things like Spell Shield. And then the Rakan will basically just roam. And when we get into the game, like, we'll see a lot of roaming from him. So, like, I think overall, Fnatic is really happy with this draft. And then Origen, like, they focus a little bit more on lane. So, in theory, they should have an early lane advantage with Xayah Lux because this 2v2 is, like, way stronger early levels than this one is. And, like, there's real kill pressure, there's gank setup. So, like, OG already have a very clear lane that they can look to play around in the early game if they want to. And then Fnatic is a little bit behind. So, like, Origen's pretty happy because they feel like they've got a strong top laner and there are very few answers that can go into it. It can also be flexed into mid lane, which means that they can pretty much put this Aatrox into this Sylas wherever they want. OG is also pretty happy because they feel they've got a stronger 2v2 in bot lane. Meanwhile, Fnatic's like, well, we have Sylas, who's OP, and we have Sivir, who's really safe, and we have Hylissang on Rakan. So, like, both teams in their eyes are probably pretty happy with this. So when you move on to second phase bans, like, Origen take away the Nico because it's probably considered a good pick into the Aatrox. Remember that Nico can be played both mid and top, which means that Fnatic have like a lot of flexibility. So like they're like, nah, we don't want to deal with this crap. So they take that off the board, and I think the only reason why they ban Elise in here is because they see the Elise ban. So like, well, if Elise is gone, we should probably ban Lee because they're probably going to want to ban another jungler. I can't remember who gets first ban. I don't know why I've forgotten this. But either way, like 2 jungle bans, Lee Sin bans basically limit the pool. Now, like, this is where I tripped up on the draft because I was like, Olaf and Rek'Sai are like the last 2 junglers left that you really want to play. And in my head, I'm like, Olaf makes way more sense because if they then pick Rek'Sai, Olaf is stronger. You then have stronger either 2v2 with Aatrox, Olaf, either in top lane or mid lane. And like, Olaf is pretty good at running Sivir down because she can only spell shield one thing. Olaf pretty much ignores this. Like, Olaf's ult is like a fine one to steal. Like, sure, it makes you CC immune, but I mean, I don't think you care that much about like that based on this. So, like, in my head, Olaf was the pick that they were going for, and then I actually wasn't sure what like a good counter to Olaf was. So I actually need to speak to Origen about why they decided to prioritize the Rek'Sai. But either way, like Rek'Sai does a very similar thing to what Olaf does in early game. Like really strong in terms of 2v2, offers a lot of value. Easy to play around the Aatrox as well. And because of all these early game junglers being banned out, like the only thing that could have beaten Rek'Sai in early game is an Olaf. So they're either saying, well, we know he doesn't play Olaf, so we'll pick Rek'Sai. Or they're saying, we don't play Olaf, they don't play Olaf, no one gives a crap about Olaf. So they go for Rek'Sai. Anyway, Gragas plus Shen. The Gragas jungle, I think was because they wanted a little bit more damage. I think that they also wanted, like, so I'll be honest, the Gragas pick doesn't make a huge amount of sense to me. I think that it worked very well in what they're able to do, but bear in mind, they haven't seen the Kennen yet. I don't think Gragas is that effective against Xayah. I don't think Gragas is like particularly strong against Rek'Sai, especially at early levels. Gragas has like decent ganks. Like I think like if I'm the jungler in this situation, I think Gragas is fine, but I'm not entirely convinced behind what this pick necessarily brings to this comp. Or against this comp into this comp as well. Because like I guess you could argue that they have a really strong pick. Like if Rakan lands a knockup or a charm, you then Gragas barrel in and then like it knocks that target back. So like yeah, it fits in with the pick. It also offers them a little bit more CC and engage. Because like when you have Sivir and Rakan, like having that extra bit of follow up or even that extra initiation, I think is like valuable. It's like it's not. I don't think it's a terrible pick. I think it's an absolutely fine pick. I'm just curious as to like if like why didn't they go Skarner here, for example? Like because you still have the same pick potential. I think Skarner does better into Rek'Sai overall. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, this is a fine pick. A bit more AP damage. And then the Shen was the one that caught me off guard. Shen I wasn't expecting, but Fnatic clearly consider Shen to be a good matchup into the Aatrox. It does make sense. We'll see it like in the early laning phase, how aggressively you can actually trade against the Aatrox because of his long cooldown windows. And because of his Spirit's Refuge, you can block a lot of the damage, which is nice. And it also kind of like fits into this whole pick comp. It allows them to be like, it further facilitates the divers of things like Rakan. Like Rakan, Shen is like a really, really strong combo. It's like the Shen overall, I think is a really good pick. I think it does well against things like the Aatrox, and I think it fits into the comp nicely. So I think Fnatic overall, they're like, hey, we've got good pick, we've got good scaling with Sylas and Sivir, we can play like a 1-3-1, we can play 1-4, we have very solid early game, like Fnatic have so many options, very versatile comp, pretty well rounded. And OG, they're like, well, we actually have winning matchups everywhere because we have a winning 2v2 bot. We have Aatrox that should have an advantage against Sylas early laning phase. We have a Kennen top lane who like smashes the Shen, and we know Alpha is a really good Kennen. It's like OG is sitting here thinking like, we don't care what your comp does because we're winning like 3 lanes, which means that Rek'Sai is going to have a field day because we can camp mid lane, we can probably look for dives top lane, we can play around bot if we wanted. Like, oh, this is an easy game if you're Origen. But then obviously the swip swap comes out from Fnatic. So anyway, are there any questions about the draft? Rek'Sai, I cast this game. I think I'll do would help Cyrus even more get to the backline with the anti-CC. I mean, maybe. But like, I don't know if like Silas's main goal is to die onto this backline. I think he, along with Sivir, just pretty much want to hit whatever's in front of it. Because like the thing in a team fight that this comp has to be most careful of is this Kennen. Kennen is the biggest way in which you lose. So like I actually think with Fnatic's comp, the Sivir is a bit of a bait into thinking that they want a team fight, but I don't actually think that they want a team fight. I think they want to look for picks and like small skirmishes. So, you know, like have Sylas and Gragas go top and then have a Shen ult in, or have the Rakan run bot, and then like, I actually don't think Fnatic want a team fight here. I don't think this comp is very easy to team fight against. I actually think that they just want skirmishes, 3v3s, they want to look for picks on a side lane, and Sivir is basically in this comp to wave clear, and your ults can be used to run away if you want, or like, and I mean like, Sivir is just really strong right now, so... I think OG should have lane swapped when they saw what Fnatic did. I mean, we can talk about that when we get into game. Do you think they picked Gragas jungle for my AP? I mean, like, probably. Like, having a bit of extra AP is always valuable. Like, because they only have Silas, who, like, his damage, like, it is good, but it's not like, oh my god, he just one-shot me. Whereas Gragas actually kind of is. So maybe they wanted a little bit more. Sorry, I'm just going to turn my fan on, let me know if it's annoying. But they didn't last pick the cannon into the Silas. They last picked cannon into Shen. This cannon was 100% for the Shen. OG's like, we'll play cannon into Shen, we'll play Aatrox into Silas, and we'll play Zyrakan into Sivir. We'll play Zyra Lux into Sivir Rakan, and Aatrox. OG's like, we have winning matchups everywhere. This is great. We're like winning the whole map right now. Look at us. Do you think the Elise Baron was needed? I don't know if it was needed, but I think it was Fnatic just wanted to limit the jungle pool. I think they wanted to take two of the best early game junglers out, and then OG was like, well, if you're banning Elise and Jarvan, then I'm going to ban Lee Sin because we get first pick of jungle, which means we get to pick the Rek'Sai. Maybe they pick Gragas because Aatrox dive into the backline, he can root his scary with Gragas. I mean, like, I honestly think the reason why they did it is because, like, Broxa's sitting there going, the jungle pool isn't that deep. And we just, like, we've already got a pretty solid pick comp. We know, they already know at this point that they're going to play Shen into Aatrox, right? They're just holding on to the pick for a little bit longer. Or at least they have an idea. And so I think they just purely want Gragas for disengage. Because, so think about it, right? If Silas, oh, and wave clear. Wave clear is the other thing. So, if we assume that Fnatic's comp is about playing towards sides, so you have like Silas and Rakan and Shen like looking for picks around the map, Sivir's job is to clear one wave, Gragas' job is to also clear a wave, but also like if you have like a 0-2-3 setup, so like, hang on, I can show you on this. So let's just say that, so what we have, that's 80 carry, support, so here, so Fnatic is blue side, right? Here's your mid lane, right? Take those away, blah, blah, blah. Blah blah blah. You can ignore those for now. So Origen top laner down here, right? Then you have mid lane, and then support comes in from behind, and then you have the Shen ulting in, right? What Fnatic now have to do is they have to make sure that these waves, jungle and AD carry, are safe, right? So they need to clear out top, and they need to clear out, and they need to clear out mid as well, right? So one of the advantages that Gragas does also have is that he can clear out a wave pretty quickly because he goes full AP. So like he can clear out mid or he can clear out top, and then he can move down to mid, and then he can help out his AD carry, right? Alternatively, he can just hang around here, like protect his AD carry, and if they, if mid or jungle or support or whatever try to attack as a 3-man here onto the AD carry, then Gragas can come up and he can just be like, nope. Off you go, Gragas ulti, you're not getting engaged. Meanwhile, the 3 members down here are like, haha, we've just found a kill onto you. So, like, I think that's the kind of value that Gragas offers in this situation. So, like, the pick makes sense. And then, like, Brox is probably in draft, sitting there thinking to himself, I think Gragas is a fine matchup in Rek'Sai, which it ultimately is. It is fine. You're not going to get smashed in it, because, like, Gragas has a lot of CCs and slows, and Rek'Sai basically needs tunnel or flash to get the kill. And then once you hit 6, every time Rek'Sai tries to go in, Gragas is just like, have a drink, off you go. So, will you do G2 versus Vitality? Probably not today. Maybe we have time, maybe. But I already know Papa Smithy's doing it on Tuesday, so like, I'd recommend you just watch his. But we'll see. Anyway, any other questions? Giving Silas a Kennen ultimate in team fight seems like a bad time. Yeah, but like that, you can't really think about those things. You can't really think about those things when you're drafting against Silas. Like, you assume that Silas is going to be put behind. Like, that's not going to be the main thing. Why not Karthus? I think Karthus is too slow. I don't think Karthus... Like, if they went full team fight, then I think Karthus makes more sense. But against Rek'Sai, you have, like, 0 early pressure. And I think Fnatic wanted to... Fnatic had a very clear early game plan, so...
I'm ordering burger. Do you want one?
Burger? No. Thanks. But Papa Smithy sucks. I didn't want to skew your opinion of G2 versus Vitality. So that's part of the reason why I didn't do it. Anyway, any other questions regarding the draft? Any other questions at all? I will give you 2 minutes to ask questions on the draft, and then we'll get into game. Everyone happy? Everyone happy. All right, everyone looks happy. So again, reminder. Coming into the game, Origen are happy because they're like, we have winning matchup, Aatrox versus Sylas. This is good for us. We have winning matchup bot. We have Xylox into Sivir Khan. This is great for us. We're happy. They also have Kennen into Shen. So on paper, OG's like, this is free. We have winning matchups everywhere, and we have Rek'Sai, who's stronger than Gragas early. So we have stronger 2v2 mid, and we have stronger 2v2 top. We are good to go. Whereas obviously Fnatic have a sneaky plan coming into the game, and they're gonna do a little thing which we'll talk about when we get into the game. But like, remember, Fnatic's comp, it wants to look for picks. Do not think that just because they have a Sivir, the whole goal is to team fight. They don't want to do that. They're not interested in team fighting. Team fighting, like they have the ability to team fight, but this is all about Rakan. This game is all about Shen. These two picks are the most important. Looking for picks on side lanes, looking to catch the opponent out. That's the whole goal of this composition. Like, Gragas can help this, Rakan, Shen. This is all what this is about. These fine picks, and then you have the Sylas and Sivir for damage so that you can use the numbers advantage, right? So that's what we're expecting. What makes Lee strong right now? I just think Broxah makes Lee look strong. Haha. What am I doing? What is... Oh, okay. I had a cable there. That's what was confusing me. Is there even that much to say about this game? There's so much to say about this game. There's a lot. That's really a lot. Alright, anyway. Let's actually do the analysis now. Alright. I'm not going to have casters on because it's my own voice, so screw that. Alright. What are we seeing level 1? So, this level 1 play from Fnatic, right? Because this thing is in the way. I'll use it on the minimap here. So they send their support. Ooh, whoops, didn't want that. So they send their support and their top laner bot. They keep their... Wait. No, mid laner. Sorry. They send their mid laner bot. They keep support here. They keep AD carry here. And they keep jungle here. Right? Meanwhile, they're just like meh, and meh. Right? So... Origen go for pretty generic standards. Oh, actually, they... Okay, slightly more like that. Sure, whatever, right? Anyway, OG go for a little more of a standard start. Fnatic go for a bit of a crazy start. The only thing I can think of as to why Fnatic do this is because it is very common for a Rek'Sai to start here on red buff, right? Because then you do, like, red into Krugs, into Raptors, and then I think that gives you level 3. I'm not a jungler. I don't know for certain. But like, this is a very common path. As someone that's duoed a lot with a Rek'Sai main, this is one of the most common paths, right? So like, Fnatic is sitting there and saying, hey, there's a good chance the Rek'Sai starts top. So if you guys sneak into this bottom brush, you might be able to catch the AD carry and support, trying to get out here early, maybe drop a ward, like, let's put a ward down here or something, and then try and get priority in the lane early. And then because this duo is trying to get priority in the lane early, then this two can try and find a pick. So that's like why I think they're doing it, but I'm not 100% sure. That's my logic. What do you mean, why don't I put 2? Alright, listen, you're all using too much logic. I'm just going to do it my way, and then I'll review my VOD review later. Okay? Okay. Okay, so, level 1, nothing too standard. Oh, wait a minute. Bwipo's in mid lane. So this was Fnatic's sneaky plan all along. They wanted to put the Shen against the Aatrox from the beginning. So this is how they avoid what we talked about earlier. Do you remember how we said, like, oh, look, Origen have winning matchup mid, they have winning matchup top, and they have a winning matchup bot. Fnatic swapped these two around, the good old swappy. Nemesis on Sylas. This is a much easier matchup because he can farm from ranged, right? Because he has his Q, he has escapes with his E. Like you also have kill pressure, as we saw with Bwipo versus Odoamne. If you play the matchup poorly, you can get killed by the Sylas. Not early levels, 100% not early levels, but excuse me, kill pressure does exist, right? So this is a smart swap because it allows Fnatic to not like top lane matchup is still losing, but mid lane matchup no longer is as one-sided as it's supposed to be, right? So I really like the swap from Fnatic. I think it was big brain. But like, I also want to show some of the cool trading patterns if we get an opportunity to see mid. But you can see, right? Nemesis, like, he has enough wave clear. Early levels, Sivir is always going to get pushed because it's Sivir. She starts W and she wave clears. And, like, look at this. Look at this. Immediately takes Taunt and then just dashes in, right? Taunt is, like, so effective against these champions. Because the moment he uses his Q to wave clear, then Bwipo is just like, pa-pow. And he's going to win out on all these trades all the time. Like, he has Grasp. He has Sustain. The taunt is really good. I assume he's going to take the sword pulley thing second, or first rather, because that's what gives you all the attack speed and damage and stuff. But yeah, this is like smart swap. So what we see, Rek'Sai. Remember what we talked about? Red into Krugs into Raptors. So Cole doing a very standard early game jungle start. Meanwhile, Gragas doing exactly the same, except he did Raptors second. So like this, Bwipo, if he didn't take a tower shot there, he'd be in a much better position, but he took a tower shot. Unlucky. So Gragas bases. Ooh. So this is actually like, this is risky. Okay, wait. Let's go back. How does he know? How does he know who the Gragas is? I'm not really sure. So like, the only reason why that invade would be safe is if you knew Gragas' bot side. And for what I can tell, Origen had no deep vision. I don't remember any pings coming out. So unless Cold has some insane sixth sense, I'm not actually sure how he knows that Gragas is just doing a full clear bot. Unless that's also a standard thing for Gragas players to do, and I just don't know. I'll ask Cold about it. Because I'm very, very curious. I wonder if this was it. So like you can see the ping here from Origen where they're like, Rakan's gone missing, he's warding your blue. And because he's warding blue, the only reason why he would do that is to potentially give Broxah the information needed to go and invade. I wonder if that's it. Yeah. Because like the reason why this is risky is because mid has no priority at all. So like imagine if Gragas is here, like that Shen's gonna collapse first. Unless Cold thinks that he's safe enough because he has tunnel. He's also level 3, remember? So we talked about it. Red into Krugs into Raptors gives him 3. And then he goes into enemy jungle. Like, I guess because he still has tunnel, he's like, well, I can just tunnel up and then Alfari has prio, so I'm safe. Are you allowed to stream Pro V VODs for review? I don't know. I haven't asked for permission, so I'm not doing it. Once I have more information, I'll think about doing it, but I don't think I can. That's the Predator standard opener. Is it? I'm not sure. I'll be honest. Like, I'm not super familiar with like Gragas early pathing. If this is standard, then Cold just knows or expects what Gragas is going to do, which is like a very reasonable thing. Like we already talked about like what a standard Rek'Sai path looks like. Because like the other Rek'Sai path, or the path that used to happen a lot with Rek'Sais was red into Krugs into Scuttle into like enemy jungle, and sometimes you drop a ward here, and if like this has been cleared, then you just go to your Raptors, but if it hasn't, then as the Rek'Sai you actually do this. That was another thing that Ender used to do a lot. So I know a lot about Rek'Sai early pathing, but I'm not sure about Gragas. So anyway, yeah, that was cool though. But like this is, for all intents and purposes, in my opinion, a little bit dangerous, just because your mid has no prio. And by priority, I mean like you can just see where the Aatrox is. Shen is gonna get here first, right? So if Gragas is like, hi, my blue buff is being stolen, can you guys help? Shen gets to the fight first, which means that Cold is at a higher risk, but of course the cannon gets here first too because he has prio. So priority in the lane. Yeah, I made a wonderful LoL Esports video on lane priority. So that gets stolen. Brox is sad, but look here. So he's underneath this tower, which means that the Shen can now move up into river, and they can contest the Scuttle Crab. So it's 2v1. So he walks away with that one. They're happy. Kennen can't move down fast enough because Scuttle grab path this way. And now he actually has access to the river here as well. Because Cold has to take the long way around. Because again, he's slower on the play. So now we see a bit of trading in the bot lane. Aftershock being used by Hillside. Like, Fnatic, for the record, lost this trade. Let's just appreciate that for a second. Show me the trade. So, Reckless is already pretty low anyway. Patrick can't hit. Oh, okay. So he can't initially, but then he can. Oh, and Reckless gets binded. Okay, that's why they lose the trade. Oh, that was good by Mithy. Yeah, that's why they lose. Otherwise, that probably would have been a fine trade. Yeah, they lose that trade. I don't think they're getting gank anyway, because, like, Cold is right there. Taunt used in mid. That's fine. Vision invested bot side for OG. Gives freedom for this duo to play a little bit more aggressively, and now they've hit level 3. It's a lot easier for them to look for early trades. Alpha is playing a little bit more defensively. He's kind of freezing the wave here. Notice how he's backing at this point in time. I'd show you on Pro View if I could, but I don't know if I can. He freezes the wave in a way where it's like slow pushing underneath his tower, but it's not quite. So the wave kind of stops awkwardly here, and the blue and red minions both die, but ultimately the wave will push towards Alphari's tower. So one of the things that Nemesis is doing is teleporting to one of the minions to stop it from moving, which helps a little bit, but he's forced to teleport here because he has to clear out this wave, otherwise it's going to freeze and he's going to lose all his farm and he's going to be really sad. So this is a good base. This is cool. So you can see, this is slowly pushing in. But Nemesis is like, I gotta push this out, because if the wave gets stuck here, then I'm just gonna die from a gank. And my jungler's bot, so. Man, Broxo was looking for so many ganks early game. He's found 1 mid, he looked for 2 bot. Meanwhile, Cold has just kind of been like trying to track him. So remember, what we wanted to see from Cold was like play around his strong lanes. Like, he had a lot of options. So far, we haven't really seen him play around anything. So, like, one of the questions I saw in the chat earlier on... Thanks for the host, Ender. One of the questions I saw in the chat earlier on was, should Nuke Duck and Alphari potentially have swapped? There is an argument to say yes, because ultimately what Origen wanted was Aatrox into Kennen, Aatrox into Silas, and they wanted the Kennen into Shen. However, Kennen into Silas is still a fine matchup, and according to Nuke Duck, like this is, and like we can see it in the farm too, right? Like early on he struggled a little bit, but now that he's got more levels under his belt, this matchup is fine. Nuke Duck isn't exactly like like Shen will never kill you in lane. He might be obnoxious, but you have to do something really wrong if Shen kills you in lane. So Origen is just like, no, we're fine. We really are fine. But also like Kennen is harder to play in a shorter lane. Because see if I can remember this. So someone was telling me about how because of the longer lane, it's easier for Kennen to like land skill shots and basically harass. His lightning rush is also like easier to use in longer lanes. And basically like if you put him here, it's just Kennen doesn't do great in short lanes. Is one of the arguments that I've been given. So like I don't know if that's gonna be a big blocker, but I've definitely been told that Kennen much prefers to be in these like longer lanes where he has more room for to move. Like I'm not an expert on Kennen. It's just one of the things that I've been told. Tell that to Vizitachi who kills in lane on Shen. Okay, if you can find me a VOD of him killing someone in lane on Shen, then I'll give you that one, but I can't remember the last time a Shen has killed anyone. He spell shields the feathers? Yeah, he spell shields the feathers. He doesn't bother spell shielding the binding. Anyway. So, we haven't really seen much from Cold in the early game. OG is still like, they have an advantage top, they have an advantage mid. They haven't really done much bot, but I think a part of that is because where the wave is, like, they just based, so they're just catching up on farm, so I don't think that's much of a big deal. Like, bot lane is super even right now. Alright. We gotta backtrack. So, all supports, all the really good supports, but generally all supports in Europe do this thing where after their first base, you'll notice Hylissang has backed first, right? So Sivu is left to push in the wave. Gragas is still hanging around just in case. But like support backs first, and then he looks to roam, right? This roam happens all the time. It's like a really common... I'm not going to say it's just a European thing, because I feel like it's just a really common thing. But like level 4 supports look for roams all the time. So like Fnatic know this is coming. They've set this up. Like this is where their master strategy comes into effect, right? They've been planning this since the draft. Remember what we said. You know, they wanted to have the Shen into the Aatrox. They knew it was going to go mid lane. They know that Gragas is has strong early game ganks, and they know that Hylissang is gonna roam a lot on Rakan. It's this is all part of the master plan from Fnatic. So here we go. Plan gets executed. They commit 2 flashes, an ignite, and they get a kill. I don't know why Reckless came. I think part of the reason why Reckless came is because what's he gonna do here? Bot lane is kind of frozen, so he's just kind of bleh. So he just comes mid lane because he's hey, maybe I can get some gold, maybe I can farm a wave. Also, Bwipo is probably going to go back now because notice he hasn't actually based yet. So Reckless can just catch the farm, he can get some turret plates maybe. Yeah, so this is fine for Reckless. But yeah, this whole part, this is all part of the plan. And then they, Bwipo. And then he gets level 6. And then they go for a play top. And remember what we said earlier? Sylas does have kill pressure on Kennen. A part of it is you have to misplay on the Kennen. But it also helps if you have a Shen in your lane. Or on your team, rather. And you can make this play happen. There's really not a lot to break down here. This is just this is all Fnatic's big brain. They plan this from the draft. Yeah. I think this is really smart. Great utilization of the Shen ultimate. Very rare, often you'll hear casters say, the moment that Shen hits level 6, he needs to be using his ultimate. And every time it's off cooldown, you want to see Shen using his ultimate. And more often than not in pro play, you don't actually see it. But this is a really good example of how to do it. They make the play at 5. Shen gets 6. He goes top. He uses his ult. And then they swap the lanes back. Because now Kennen's behind. Shen has been involved in 2 assists, so now he's got a little bit more wave clear. And they're happy. So, what does this all mean in terms of the state of the map? So. This is a cool opportunity to talk a little bit about this thing called tempo. Right now, I hate the word tempo. I'm going to start by saying that. I think the word tempo does not actually describe what it is. Because this is a VOD review, I'm going to try and explain it. Word of warning, I don't fully understand it yet. I have a pretty good idea of what it means, but basically, tempo, if you have tempo, it often refers to, a state of the game, but it's also a resource, right? So, when you usually have tempo when you're the first one back out on the map, right? So, Fnatic, if we go all the way back here, right? So, Fnatic have tempo here because they've based first. The Lux is basing, right? So, Fnatic have based first, and they're back out on the map, right? So, they can afford to make this play, and there's not much that Origen can do really about it unless they look to trade somewhere else on the map, right? So, they're back out on the map first. They can make the play. They make this happen. Right, but in order to do this, they've also had to spend tempo, right? Because now what they need to do is they need to go back to base. They need to spend their gold. And this is when you have what is called a reset. And then it's effectively Origen's turn. Origen now have tempo, right? Because they're now ones. They have numbers advantage on the map. And again, so Fnatic is continuing to expend resources here. Now, the thing is, Fnatic, they make this play, but it's not necessarily their turn to make this play, right? Because you have 4 other members of Origen already creating pressure on the map, which means that Fnatic have to give something up elsewhere in order to make this play happen. Now, ultimately, this is still worth it for Fnatic, but you'll see here how Origen is able to now gain control over the entire bot side jungle. And there's nothing that Fnatic can do about it because they don't have the numbers, right? So because Fnatic have fewer numbers, they're forced out of the jungle. Now, this is where I think Origen could have been a little bit more aggressive. They wanted to make sure that mid-wave was pushed out. But, notice all the pings coming onto red buff. So, because of this play that happened top, Origen should have the freedom to just take this red buff for free, right? So, this is where there's a misplay, right? Because remember all these things that we just talked about. I try to explain tempo. I may have gotten a little bit wrong, but the core point that I'm trying to get at is that ultimately this is Origen's turn to make a play because Fnatic just sent 2 people top lane. So Origin have like this big window of time where they can now do things on the map. And their whole goal is to, well, we now want to take Brox's jungle, right? If we look at the vision that they have available to them, they have 1 control ward on Aatrox, they have 1 control ward on the Lux, they have 1 trinket, and they have 1 control ward, right? So they clear out the vision, they get a little couple wards here. Aatrox doesn't use his control ward, right? So that I think is the first mistake. I think Aatrox could have moved in with the Rek'Sai and helped gain better vision around this area of the map, right? Rek'Sai uses his trinket on the bottom side of red, but they know that the Gragas is still hanging around, right? So what we want to see from the bot lane is like we want to see bot hard push this in, and we want to see them start moving up, but they think, well, we've got the Lux here, so it's fine. Nuke Duck, after pushing the wave, now makes his way around, and Origen think that this is safe, but again, because there's no pressure here, there's no threat, Broxah can walk up for free. So like this for me was just Origen a little bit like, I think they had a bigger opportunity here to get something back, to steal away the red buff. And now this is ultimately time wasted. So for everything that Fnatic just did, like the play into mid into the play into top, they lost absolutely nothing. They've lost nothing. They didn't lose any jungle camps. They didn't lose the red buff. They're fine in XP, and no one died. So that's why I think it was a bit of a misplay here from Origen. We can now watch the replay of all this stuff happening. Alright, does anyone have any questions? Have Fnatic and Origen so far this improved your hopes of their performance or Rift Rivals? Oh, I mean, I personally think Europe's going to smash it, eh? Just my opinion. Does anyone have any questions that aren't related to Ender? Because I'm now paying attention to the chat. So if you have a question, you can now ask it. Again, I want to reinforce. Tempo is not a thing that I fully understand, right? It is something that I am working with a lot of coaches for all the LEC teams to better understand, so I can like explain it better to viewers. But I really don't like the word tempo. I think it's a pretty like, because tempo in music refers to like speed, right? How? So, music lesson with Vedi real quick. Right? Okay, so, listen. Oh, God, that's so out of tune. Anyway, yeah, this will do. Bum, 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 bum. Right, so you have tempos of songs, right? So this is a high tempo beat. And then you have a low tempo beat, which is like... Right, so those are the different things in tempo, right? So as someone with a music background, that makes absolutely 0 sense in the context of League, which is why I hate the word tempo, right? But every pro player uses it, so I kind of have to use it. Like, it's just the word that's been decided. I'm not going to tune it. This isn't a guitar lesson, this is a VOD review. It's more like ebb and flow. It's very much like ebb and flow. Someone, George, the former analyst of like TSM and Fnatic and all those teams, he was also analyst for XL last split. He often describes League as like a game of chess, and like everyone takes turns, and like tempo is a very turn-based thing, where like you take turns back and forth. Anyway, ooh, we have a question. Do you watch LPL and LCK? I watch LCK. I don't watch a lot of LPL. What should the Aatrox have done when he was with Rek'Sai? So, what should the Aatrox have done? In my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong in this, right? But like in my opinion here, the Aatrox should actually not worry about the mid wave right now. And he should actually just keep moving into the enemy jungle, and they should force Broxah back. And I think that... I can show you on this thing. So, we see... jungler, we see mid laner, we see AD carry, and we see support, right? So, get rid of top laner. Mid is like back here. AD carry, support, and then where's the jungler? Jungler's here, right? So, what I think they should have done is I think he comes around here, Nuke Duck comes around here, right? Jungler can move with him, or jungler can go that way, it doesn't really matter. But like, I basically want to force this jungler out, right? I don't want Broxah here. I don't think Broxah should have the freedom to come up to here, right? And because this duo already has priority, I think the support could have moved a little bit earlier, which means that you then have 2 here, 1 here, mid here, and you can control ward this or control ward this. You can drop a ward in here, or you can drop it in here. I think this one's a little better. Now, the problem they obviously did have, which I'm not talking about, is that the red buff hasn't actually spawned yet, right? So because the red buff isn't alive, they think that they have time, which is part of the reason why I think this happens. So like that wave isn't there long enough, so they need to just push this wave out first, and he thinks that he has enough time because red buff hasn't spawned yet to actually move in. But like, this should have been a free red buff. And like, my main issue is the fact that he has the freedom to just walk up to this and take it for free, which I don't think he should be allowed to do. And like, pro players will sit there and tell you like, this is fine, I just mistimed my smite. But in my opinion, Broxah should never have been in a position to get that free smite anyway. And I also think Cold should have been able to just take everything. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong. That's just my opinion. Pro players will probably see it differently. But yeah. There were other questions too. I think, why did Genji's coaches pick Olaf? I have no idea. I'm not talking about it. That's a completely different game. I think tempo is best described as who keeps the tempo of the game, as if the game is the song. If a team has the tempo, they're directing the speed of the game. I mean, like, yes and no, because tempo isn't really directed to speed. Like, it's more directed, like, who now has, whose turn is it now on the game? I think people mean momentum. Still debatable. Why didn't keep Zillion mid away from... Okay, I appreciate your question, but not relevant. I will answer any other league questions after the review. Please keep questions specific to the VOD review. Anyway, I spent a lot more time on that than I wanted to. Right, back into the game. So, the map is kind of neutral right now. I don't think anyone has any tempo. Tempo isn't really relevant right now. So, this is awesome. This is actually what was supposed to happen much earlier into the game, right? Like, this is what Cold wanted to do. And this is how Origen wanted to play. So, like, Shen is now useless. Because Shen, after making the play mid, then TP's top and then makes this play, and then he's forced to base. So, like, he's really far behind in farm, and then he just dies, right? So, Shen is now useless. Alphari's really fed. Origen have a goal lead even after all this play because he's running Kleptomancy and he's been building loads of gold advantage. Bot lane has a lead because Hylissang made that roam and they got all these turret plates. Like, even though Fnatic did all this great stuff and even though I criticized Origen for this little misplay here, ultimately Origen is still in the lead, right? Like, so Origen is like not upset at this point. Origen's very happy. They're like, man, this is fine. Because, like, this guy is useless. Like, look at, yeah, this guy's kind of useless. And, like, in terms of gold, it's fine. But, like, this guy's got a lot of gold. This guy's got a lot of gold. This guy's got a lot of gold. Like, OG's like, yeah, we're fine. We're really fine. Alright. So, Origen's happy. Okay. So, again. Okay, wait. Before we get into this. Because this is like, this is what I mean by turns, right? So this is cool. Let me show you. Okay, so Origen make this play happen, right? Notice how the blue buff is being taken. So, Alphari's ultimate is down, right? That's a big deal. Okay? Rakan now moves up. Okay? So this is bad for Reckless, but this is fine. This is better for Fnatic because it now actually allows them to gain a little bit of vision control up towards topside. So what Fnatic could have done is looked to trade Drake for that play, right? But because they wanted to give blue to Nemesis, and I think it was like heavily delayed when he actually got the blue, and also Origen don't give two craps about the blue because like no one on their comp cares about it, right? They can't actually trade, so instead they choose to invest it into vision. So they know that Rek'Sai has to back off because Kennen wants to go back to base. So because again, like, tempo ultimately results in like numbers advantages, and numbers is the name of the game. More often than not, if you have more people on the map than the enemy do, you're going to win, right? It's just how life works. 5 versus 4, 5 normally wins, and there are some variables that can obviously change that, but for the most part, 5 versus 4, numbers always wins, right? So they know Cannon has gone back. That means that with the TPing Shen back in, they can gain full vision control over topside river. And because Hylissang roam top, they look for a play mid, and then they rotate their pressure down towards bot side. So like, very quickly, Fnatic have gained vision over topside river, they've gained vision over bot side river, and like, this is overall a very nice map movement after what they just lost in the top side, right? So like, this is one of those things where, like, in my opinion, this is a great showcasing of what 2 high-level teams can do, because even if you're not trading an objective or kills, like, you're trading areas of the map, right? So again, I'm going to bring this back up. So, if, like, in this example, Origen get this kill up top, right, and they've maintained control over all of this side of the map to make this kill happen in the first place, right? Let's just, for argument's sake, that's the case. After this kill happens, they can regain control here, and what Fnatic do is they actually just send numbers up here to regain it. So you've got support, you've got, where's the top laner gone? Top laner, top laner. You've got top laner, and you've got jungler, right? So like, top laner's back over here now, jungler's here, mid is here, right? So again, Origen get a kill. Origen is very happy. There's nothing wrong with that. But the best play that Fnatic can now do is just reclaim some vision control, because by having vision and information, it gives you a better opportunity to make more moves, and it also gives you insight into what the enemy is trying to do, right? So like, they gain vision all along here, and then because they have numbers, right, they have these 2 in the jungle and support, they can drag their jungler mid, bang, and they've got their mid laner, and this mid laner is like, what do I do? Even if the jungler shows up, who's here, even if he shows up here, right, they're still down in numbers, so they're forced to concede, because these guys just have more wave clear. So even if they could fight them 2v2, like, these guys clear the wave faster, so the wave gets pushed under tower. So these guys have to catch the wave, which means these 3 can then move into the bot side jungle, and then they can be like, pow, 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 I now have vision. So now these guys are forced to play more defensively, because they don't have any vision of river, right? Which is great. Until this guy comes back out on the map, he's now back into relevancy, right? And now he, because he generates pressure, can move down here, and they can clear out the vision again. And like, that's how you see the ebb and flow of game, right? This is what I'm saying, right? Fnatic don't necessarily trade kills, but they will trade vision, and they gain control over the river in exchange for losing this. But like, a lot of bad teams, they'll just not do anything, right? They won't gain this vision control, and they'll just sit in the back. And so Origen get this effectively for free. Like, this guy bases, comes back over, and if you see a team like after a play like that, and all this river is still lit up by the enemy jungle, then you're like, well, I've done something wrong. Does that make sense? Tempo in chess is an advantage. How much time it would take you to put your plan into action? I think League tempo is similar in that respect. Yeah, that sounds about right. Tempo in chess is an advantage in how much time it would take you to put your plan into action versus your opponent. Yes, that is 100%. Yes, that's what it is. I think that is 100% what it is. Why did Shen and Sylas change lanes again? Because he doesn't have teleport and he has ult, so he wants to be closer. So it's better for him to be here. Or when he made that play up top lane, rather. So when he ulted up top, he had TP, so he could hang around top side. Whereas I believe Sylas didn't have TP because he already... Look, you can see how Fari and Nemesis' TPs are on the same cooldown. So I think that's why they did it. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you. Why are they getting control on bot river if bot have priority? It doesn't matter. Because they can. There's no reason not to. Because you create pockets of darkness that the enemy now have to play around. Yep. So they have control wards littered everywhere, and now the map kind of resets. So Fnatic have all these wards, which the observers are now highlighting. And now the map is just kind of reset. So you can see Cold, he's like, bro, I can't see anything. Nearly gets picked off, but he's not, well, he's just very aware. They use their prio bot lane to move up into the river, and now they're setting up around Drake. Problem is, both these teams don't really care about this Cloud Drake. If they can get it for free, then they'll play for it. Like, this is a good game already. I like this game. Oh, no. Alright. So remember when I said about having Vision bot? Dude, how does this play happen? So Origen regain bot control, right? There's this one ward over here, which they don't clear out, but they have bot control for all intents and purposes. Then they regain it again. because they've ran out of wards, whereas they haven't spent any of their wards. And that's another thing, right? So you asked the question, why did they bother getting bot river control? So they get vision here, they then reset, they've got wards, right? So remember, they already have wards in the river, and then they also have wards in their inventory because they've just reset. So Origen used their vision to clear out river, but then they can't hold on to it because bot lane regains priority. And then they move in with their restock vision and they clear it all out. So they're like, now we have control. I say we have control, and they don't really. They just cleared mid, which means Nukeduck has to play more defensively. I'm not really sure why this happens. I think this was a mistake from Nukeduck, to be honest. Because like he literally just lost control over this area of the map, so he has no visibility. He also knows that Hylissang and Gragas like around here, and because of this ward, he should have seen that they didn't walk that way. So they're either here, or they're here. He should have been playing more towards top side. I think that was just a mistake from Nukeduck. Yeah. And then Bwupo. Oh, he sacrifices top. I see. Damn, Bwupo sacrifices a lot this game. So at this point, Nukeduck's like hella weak. It's kind of 4v4 because Nukeduck is irrelevant and Bwupo's kind of irrelevant, but he has a Shen ultimate. But Cannon's fed, Silas is fed. Both AD carries are pretty even. And then Fnatic game prior top because enemy mid lane is dead. And Cannon just based. Yeah. Do 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 do. Yeah, I think this was just a mistake from Nukeduck personally. Okay. Ooh. Alright, what is happening here? Let's backtrack this. Let's also slow it down a little bit. Oh, we've actually been on... Wait, I sped it up. My bad. Okay, so let's see what happens after the reset. So everyone's going back to base. Well, all of... So, again, so obviously Fnatic have tempo here. Yes. Because they're first to the objective. They have more members on the map. But now... So they do Rift Herald. So, like, this is actually a prime example of what happens in your solo queue games, right? So, Fnatic have tempo, right? Because they've just but they've spent tempo to get this objective, right? So now they have to reset, or they should reset. If they stay on the map, Origen have just reset back onto the map, and they've just spent all their gold, they have full health, they have all of their ultimates available, and so, like, this is the team that actually has tempo. They're the ones that get to make a move on the map. They're the ones in control. It's their turn to play. So if Fnatic kept trying to make a play, they would probably lose. And that's what happens in your solo queue games. How many times have you seen players, like, take Baron, and then they're like, we can push. Or, like, take Baron after, like, a one-team fight, and they're like, we can do this. Like, you should always reset, because it's not your turn. You've got to be patient. So Fnatic will now reset. So now it's Origen's turn to get back onto the map, right? So things like teleport can help a little bit in terms of like mitigating it. Mitigating tempo, maybe? Ugh, that doesn't sound right. Teleport's good. Beep, beep, beep. So as you can see, Origen, after resetting, they send 3 people through mid. They send the Xayah immediately bot. They send the Kennen top. And they kind of have Kennen dancing in the river because he got back to lane first. And he's like, maybe I can look for a roam. Maybe we can catch Nemesis out. So this is a little greedy from Nemesis. Because he used TP to get back into lane. And then this is really dangerous from Hylissang. Where does the Gragas come from? He comes in full vision as well. Origen is like super aware of where the Gragas is, which is why I don't think they want to commit. They're just waiting for Kennen to arrive. And then the moment Kennen arrives, they're like, let's go! But then good Zhonya's from Hylissang. They get Shen ulti though. Origen's like, this is fine. Yeah, I think that all started because it was a little greedy from Nemesis. He overstayed in mid. And then, like, even then, I actually think he was fine. But then Hylissang made a bit of a greedy play. Cost Fnatic a lot more than it should have, because it cost them Nemesis Flash, and it cost them Bwupo as well. What? Excuse me. Alright, we can speed the game back up a little bit now. I don't want it that fast. This is fine. Uh-oh! Bwipo has no vision! So because of those shenanigans that happened mid, Fnatic didn't actually set any vision anywhere, so Origen maintained control of the river. Oh, but Bwipo's fine. And then they put Rift Herald bot. So they trade sides here. So both teams just playing towards the strong side. Makes sense. I think the Xayah was bot as well. Because like, the reason why Reckless and Hylissang suddenly become the strong side is because they're laning against Nuke Duck, not the Patrick and Mithy. So they just trade. They trade tower for tower. This is fine. And oh no, this is so bad. Oh god, this is so bad. I don't know why they do this. So let's remember what we were talking about earlier when we talked about tempo. Remember when I said that when you play for an objective, you have to spend tempo, right? You got to spend it. Which means that, like, if for argument's sake, we say that you have a meter that's like 10, right? And for you to take bot tier 1 with Herald costs you like 3 tempo arbitrarily, right? If you then want to take the next tower, that's going to cost you even more tempo, right? But obviously you only have a certain amount that you can spend, because the enemy team is going to reset and they're going to get back out on the map, right? So you only actually have a certain amount of time to use this tempo. And if you don't spend it in your allotted time, then you're going to get punished for it, right? So Fnatic making this play at all is still a little bit greedy, right? Because the Kennen takes top, but look, right? So Kennen's basing... Okay, Kennen's actually basing... Oh, he's actually just TPing, right? Oh god, this is actually... Actually, forget the whole tempo crap. This is bad for so many other reasons. Number one, Alphari has teleport. This guy does not. He also doesn't have Shen ulti, right? This guy also doesn't have teleport. Cold has already reset on the map because he's coming bot. It's like Cold and Mithy have reset. So both of them are in a position to get to bot lane. So even if they kill Nuke Duck, this is awful. This is really bad. It was just like, it wasn't their turn. It was so bad. Also, like, it's way easier for the Xayah to get. Yeah, no, they shouldn't have dived. They should have just left. They were in a fine spot. Top lane would have been caught. They could have like moved around to mid, set up vision control around Drake. This is really bad. OG's still really happy. I don't know if Fnatic did that. Yeah, this wasn't very good at all. Ah, well, they live and learn. Hopefully, anyway. So I want to reinstate Origen and Fnatic, very even game right now. Oh, so unlucky that they don't find that kill. That's super unlucky. Because this is gonna... I'll show you in a second. So, when the game is kind of neutral and like teams are resetting, you kind of have a choice as to where you look to allocate your resources, right? And teams have a couple options. The most common one that you'll hear casters and analysts talk about is like this 1-3-1 approach, where like you send like one person up here, 3 people here, 1 person down here, right? Like, and it's often something that you do a lot in solo queue as well, where like 2 people go and catch the side waves, and then the 3 people gain pressure mid. But like, what you need to do after that is you need to then bring those members somewhere else. So what you can do, and what Origen does here, is they don't reset with like 1 person top, 3 people mid, 1 person bot. They actually reset with 4 people mid, and they send Alphari bot. And they know because Alfari is strong that he'll gain priority in that lane. And because they have 4 people mid, and they don't literally send 4 people into the mid lane, right? They just send 4 people in that area, and I can't show you because there's a replay in the way. But basically, I can't show you on this map again. So, more doodly dudes, right? So, like, mid and jungle, well, yeah, mid and jungle will come down here, right? Support will sit in there. AD carry, maybe there as well. Like, jungler and support will, like, be hanging around here. Jungle will do his camp. Support will walk through here, make sure there's no vision or whatever. And then top lane is pushing in this lane, right? What this does is that Fnatic, who's answering with more of a 1-3-1 style with... They're sending 3 people here. What they're doing is they're sacrificing top, right? They're saying, we don't care about this because we're going to guarantee control here because we can bring these people mid if we want. And we're like, hey, we have 4 people. And then we can bring these 4 people all the way through here and we can send them bot, right? And Fnatic don't really have any other options here. They're forced to retreat. Like, these people will catch this wave. This 3 will catch this wave. And this laner is forced to retreat or die, right? But obviously the exchange is this top tower. But the hope is that because you're investing 4 people bot and 1 person mid, right? Or like, even if you don't send 4, like, you see what I mean, right? So I think on the minimap they actually send, so like here they have like a 2-3 split. You see the 80 carries coming down, like, so the Aatrox is actually staying mid, and then the 80 carry is coming down, and the support's like already here, jungle is here, 80 carries here. It's like, this is what I mean by 4-1. I know they don't literally send 4 people here, but like 4 people to this area of the map and then 1 person to this area of the map. Anyway, because they don't find this kill, like, that hurts them, because what this actually means is you now sent 3 people bot and you don't get the kill, which is valuable, and it actually means that now they have a numbers advantage mid and they are able to get the top tower. So not getting this kill really sucks for Origen. It's very unfortunate, because you can see now on the minimap they committed 4 people bot, they get the tower, but now they have the 3 people mid from Fnatic that can set up the siege. And Patrick is forced to take the long way around. Now, I think they do end up defending this because OG are able to get back in time. But in an ideal world, what they would have done is they would have gotten the kill, they would have gotten the tower, they would have been able to push that in, and then they could have even rotated up towards top side. Like, I make it sound worse than it actually was. They still get the tower, which is fine. They still get vision here, and they get it here. And they're able to keep this tower alive. And I don't, like, the fact that this is delayed by its taking means that Alfari can base, get back onto the map faster, and then Origen have tempo again. It's like you're kind of making trades and exchanges in order to, like, later on have an advantage. So now Cannon should come back onto the map faster. After taking this tower, Fnatic is behind on the play because remember, tempo is a resource. They're now spending that resource to take this tower. And now that's been spent, they need to reset. So Origen are now back on the map first. They've got more items. They've got bot pushed out. And now what they'll look to do is they'll look to play for vision control. Yep. But the game's super even. Origen is looking for one big team fight with Cannon ultimate. Fnatic is not. And like, that's ultimately the discrepancy. So now getting to a point where Origen want to try and force things like Baron or Dragon to force Fnatic to come and fight them. But they haven't spawned yet. So the fact that Origen are in a lead at this point, they're fine. Neither team is upset. Nothing has gone horribly wrong. Everything is pretty fine for both teams. And everyone is like reset. And notice again here, notice, both junglers playing around their strong side of the map right now. So Rek'Sai playing around Alfari, Gragas playing around Nemesis. Just allowing them to take these towers. So that a lot of damage has already been done. He takes that. Alfari knows that he can force the Shen back, and he's a little bit slower on the play because obviously this tower had already taken a lot of damage. So now Silas should push this. He should reset. But he's actually just going to move his pressure mid. And I think this is also fine. If they can get mid tower off the back of this, then it's 100% worth. But good wave clear from Patrick and Mithy buys them enough time. So, very even trade. Nothing really gained or lost for either team. Reckless staying on the map. I think he's fine to do so. He'll push this wave in and reset. And then the Zai uses TP, which is also fine. Okay, very even game so far. Origen have a lead because of the cannon, the Rek'Sai, and Patrick. Meanwhile, Nuke Duck's not really relevant in this game, but neither is the Shen. Nuke Duck can't generate any pressure in sides, and because he doesn't really have the items to like dish out loads of damage in team fights, I don't think he does a lot. But the Shen can't really do much either. He loses the cannon really hard. So the game state is insanely even. It's hilariously even. Okay, so we didn't really talk about this, but notice how again Origen continued to play around their strong side. They keep Origen bot. This time around, Shen actually just groups up rather than sitting in a side lane, because they know that Origen have forced a like 4-1 setup, 0-4-1, because Dragon is about to spawn. So they're continuing to play around the strong side. They're keeping Cannon bot of the map, even though he has TP. It's easier for them to gain priority over River if they play around the cannon. So I think Nuke Duck makes a bit of a mistake here. He goes top to try and catch the wave, but he doesn't have teleport. Like, at this point, Origen should just commit to the 4-1. Nuke Duck, like, so the problem with the 4-1 is that obviously it's inefficient because one person isn't getting any farm. So he's like falling behind in experience, farm, gold, everything. So this isn't good. But then notice here, you can see Nuke Duck actually starts walking up, and because of that, this actually allows Fnatic to walk in to River and clear out some vision. So they've got a bit of insight, but it also then allows them to gain mid prio. So now Fnatic's actually the one in control, because they can threaten mid tier 1. So even though Origen do the Drake, like this is the point at which, do you remember what I was saying, right? Origen want one good fight, this should be it. This should be when they fight. But they don't. They disengage. And Fnatic have mid prio, so they just push it down. So even though they lost Infernal, they'll gain way more map control. And they'll be able to gain entire topside vision. Part of the problem is Origen don't have the best engage tools. Like, they have Lux, Aatrox. Like, you need the Flash, Alphari flank, because Cold isn't really going to do much. He's going to knock up one person, which makes it hard. And I think Origen is, like, hesitant to engage here. Because, like, what does an engage even look like? Yeah. And Cannon is too far away. And they don't have mid prio, so, like, see it. So sure they get the Drake, but I don't think this was great from Origen. That was, like, their best chance to fight. I think Fnatic just danced around them, played better. Oh, why am I yawning so much? I think it's because I'm talking so much. I usually do this on cast, too, actually. I yawn a lot. They don't want to send Cannon top because then, so even though Cannon has teleport, right? Let's say you send the Cannon top lane. Where's top? You send Cannon top lane, right? Sure, he can catch this wave and clear it out, and then he can keep pressuring here. Oh, he can keep pressuring this way, because he has teleport. The problem is that the rest of Origen can't actually gain control over the river because this guy is stronger, the Sylas. So Sylas is able to push out bot first, and then he can move in through here. Meanwhile, the other three move in through here. Right? So they move in, and because Sylas is stronger and Nuke Duck is really weak, like, they can't fight this. So they don't. They back off. And they won't. Like, it's harder for them to get flanking wards because obviously Fnatic is the one in control. So instead, what Origen do is they bring their top laner down and they sacrifice the top wave. They say the top wave doesn't matter. Let it push out. It's fine. And they keep Nuke Duck mid. And, like, I didn't like the fact that Nuke Duck kind of, like, dance around here. I don't think this was great. because then they immediately lost control and threat over mid. But I think it's hard to even gain that anyway against the Sivir. Like, basically, because he was so weak, it was a lot easier for Fnatic to gain control. But that's why Origen bring their top side down, because then the Kennen can push out, who's stronger than both the Sylas. Like, in the 1v1, it's easier for him to gain prior over this lane. So he pushes this out, and then he can move in. And this gives Origen vision control around here. Does that make sense? Bum, bum, ba-doom, bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. Aha! And now we see... Wait. He's pinging me. Oh. Alright. So now we see Hylissang doing a thing. So, remember that Drake is gone, right? Okay. Remember that Drake is gone. So now, Origen is of the opinion that they want to move Alphari away, and they want to keep Nuke Duck close. So, the thing is, because this wave is so far pushed out, they don't want to send Nuke Duck here, they want to send him up here. It makes more sense. Get him the safer farm, get him to an area of the map where he can just get a couple more experience and stuff, experience gold, whatnot. And they can send the cannon down here because of how strong he is and because of how much mobility he has with his flash up as well. They're like, this is great. They could even look for a pick or a play or vision investment, which is why they send the jungler bot, right? So this is where, again, Fnatic gets sneaky, and this is when we have to backtrack to what we talked about in the draft. Fnatic want to play for side lanes and look for picks with Rakan and Shen. That's what this draft is all about. It's not about team fighting. The Sivir is a trap. This is what they want to play around. Rakan and Shen, right? So, what Origen want to do is they have top laner here, they have jungler here, and in my opinion, the mistake from Origen is that they send their support here. So if you have a look at what Mithy's doing, he's currently playing around topside. He wants to get a ward and Baron, which is understandable. But after Fnatic, excuse me, there's something in my ear. After Fnatic have just reset after taking mid tier 1, I'd be surprised if they did Baron. But like, Mithy feels that this is safe. But I personally think Mithy should have moved bot with his team and helped them gain vision control. But bear in mind, look at all this control wards down here. All of this is in full control of Fnatic. And because of the state of the wave, Hylissang can just sneak up. So sneaky. And then Alphari's here to push it out. It's like, again, like, Origen think they're fine because of how strong Alphari is and Cold. And like, Cold is there. So like, they're kind of taking the right steps. But Hylissang is just too big brain. And he finds a really good pick. Like, there were a couple layers. Like, a part of me wants to criticize Origen because I feel like that their reset wasn't great. I think that Alphari pushed too far without pressure anywhere else on the map. But at the same time, like, this is just really good awareness from Fnatic and really good utilization of their pick power. Because now with the numbers advantage, look at how easy it is for them to gain prior. They already have vision around here. Reckless can immediately move up, and they're like, we pushed that bot, we pushed that mid, and then because of all this prior, we can move into the enemy jungle and be like, haha, this jungle is ours now. And so they gain all this vision control. So then they plant their wards, wardy boys. They then reset, and they restock. And now Origen's like, well, poop. Yeah, it was good from Hylissang. I think the reset from Origen could have been better. I mean, sure, you could argue that the Ignite is a waste, but it guarantees them the kill at the very least. In the event that Alphari gets a lucky flash off, having that extra bit of damage is not a bad thing to do. It's always better to Ignite someone and overdo the damage than the opposite to be true. I don't know how many kills I've missed because I failed to Ignite someone. I'm not actually... Sorry, I completely missed how Origen got that tower then. How did they get it? Oh, because Fnatic just reset. Skip this. So yeah, again, notice how Origen send 4 people mid. Remember, we've talked a lot about it this game. 0-4-1 happens a lot from the side of Origen. So they just send 4 people mid. guarantees them control around the mid lane. 3 members of Fnatic are forced into top river. They also don't have a lot of ultis. I say ultis. They don't have Flash Filler Sang. They don't have Stand United. So Origen get a free mid tier 1. It's about time that fell down anyway. Origen, though, still in the gold lead. They're still fine. Like, objectives are even. They have dragon lead. They have a gold lead. Is it insurmountable? No, but like 80 carry difference is fine. Shen versus Aatrox still kind of irrelevant. Now Fnatic start the Baron. Risky. Very risky. But it does force Aatrox over. I imagine they're going to send off Fari there. Nope. Okay, this is a fight. Their first fight of the game. It's not even a good fight. Oh, wait, now it is. It's okay. But you can see how with a lack of engage, they're just purely relying on these flanks. Oh, I yawn so much. I'm talking so much. Damn. Yep, Origen have been looking for that fight all game. That's what the team fight should have looked like. And that's the first one in the game that they found. Why are you not in a suit and tie? Because I don't actually own one. Alright, what's going on now? Ooh. Ooh. Alright. I don't think Origen are playing around dragons very well this game, in my opinion. So, cannon resets, top wave is slow pushing. Oh, okay, no, he actually waits. He gets another wave, because it's just a waste of farm, otherwise it actually slow pushes towards Fnatic, which you don't want. TPU's mid. Reset bot. Fnatic. Fnatic have tempo here, because they're first out on the map. Remember that. I say that, but Patrick used his TP to actually gain the advantage, but still. Because Nemesis is forced to catch the wave, Fnatic can't actually generate a numbers advantage. This is actually fine. This initial play is fine. Because mid is neutralized, bot is slowly pushing in their favor, top is neutralized. Origen have actually done everything right to start the streak. There's nothing wrong with this. The biggest problem that they have is that Kennen's ultimate is not up. Yes. So like, their biggest damage, and the one person that they need isn't there. So he runs. So now Fnatic aren't afraid of anything because Cannon's been... Look, Cannon's running away! This is the person that this team needs to be scared of. This is the guy. This one. Numero uno. The guy with all the damage. Like, sure, Patrick is scary too, but like, this is the actual thing that will ruin their game. Right? So Fnatic's like, well, if you're leaving, I guess we can just walk in. And then this is just really good from Broxer. He can't react in time. That was good. That was really good from Broxer. You gotta have like... Yeah, you gotta be fast. You could argue... Excuse me, I'm so sorry. You could argue that he mispositioned as well, but... I thought that was just really good from Broxer. Yeah. Like, I honestly think Origen did all the correct steps. They then just got to the last hurdle and they were like... We don't have a cannon ultimate. Crap. And then Fnatic falls Baron. So this is dumb. So again, I'm going to keep referring to the thing we talked about before. Like, you spend tempo to do things, right? You spend it. Fnatic spent it taking Dragon. If they wanted to get vision around Baron right now, I think that might have been okay. Like, push out mid. You know... Send Silas bot lane, push out another wave out mid lane. What are they trying to get the TP out from Human Nuke Duck, who's already there? I don't know. I think this is super risky. I guess the argument is because the AD carry is dead, they can win 4v5, and they're like, Nemesis still has ult, and so does Rakan. So we can just turn and fight. They probably wanted the fight to go better, but yeah, alright. I'll give it to you, Fnatic. Personally, I think it was super risky. I think they could have just set up vision and then reset. But they get 2-1. 1 kill. Yeah, alright. I'll give it to you, Fnatic. That was fine. Still risky in my opinion. Oh, hear saying? Don't know what he's doing there. He doesn't have pro anywhere. He has pro top and bot. So this is where Origen is like, alright, we're in a bit of trouble now. Again, game's still pretty even, but that Silas is giga fed. He's like, levels of scary. And like, this is the point in the game, like, I think the last 2 dragons have hurt Origen more and more. But like, that last storm was really bad for them. And now Fnatic finally have a gold lead. But again, like, one good fight from Origen can still win them this game. It's hard. They need to set up around Baron and force them into a fight. But, like, OG's forced to play, like, 5 mid just to defend. Ah, this isn't good. You don't want gold on cold. So go back to Baron. And the split push starts. This is on 4. Yep, and out. Oh, great barrel. Pretty good play. And then OG find the fight way too late. Ended up being a 1-for-1 initially. Yeah. That was good from Fnatic. It's like, we gotta go back a lot further to see why this all happens. Show! I want you to keep your eyes on the side lanes. So Silas and Shen have just pushed them out now. 28-15, right? Origen still haven't cleared them out, right? I mean, it's been 10 seconds. I will forgive them. Humanoid clears out top. Cannon hasn't gone bot to clear it out because he doesn't have teleport, so he wants to stay close. Nuke Duck gonna go base. He should go bot now. He should go bot because he has TP. He's the safest one to clear out. He goes mid instead. Now, because cannons spawn every wave, it makes side lanes, especially later past 25 minutes, a little bit weirder. So again, keep your eyes on the minimap. Keep your eyes on the minimap. So Fnatic, it's really easy for them to group mids because they have pressure on bot and top. So the longer they keep 5 members of Origen here, the happier Fnatic are. So like, remember, so it's been a whole minute now. We saw Nuke Duck go top. And clear out that wave, no one has gone bot yet. Right? They've kept everyone mid. To try and match Fnatic. So the Shen follows the Rek'Sai. So he now can't. Now remember, if we go back to this point. Where was it? Where was it? Here. This reset for Nuke Duck. Maybe he should have gone bot. See what I'm saying? He has TP, he can join the fight. In the event that one started off, not that I expect one to happen, but you can clear out that wave. He's the safest one to do it. He's level 15, should be fine. He chooses to group mid with his team in the event that the fight starts. So now you've got Aatrox and Kennen not getting any farm. Meanwhile, top is like slowly building up, I think for Origen, but at this point in the game, waves get kind of funky. So then the Shen can move bot, and now Fnatic are in a perfect position because that wave is fully stacked bot lane, and they've got a Shen there. So you can see Cannon minion. There's another one that's going to be shortly behind it, and then Fnatic just buying time. 4 versus 4. Nuke Duck, he's indecisive around. I'm actually not sure what the comms are here for Origen. Like, look, Nuke Duck starts walking, and then he starts walking back. They get the Shen ult. Yeah, and then the fight happens. I don't know if you guys care a lot about like the micros of the fight. Personally, I don't think it matters that much. We can break down some stuff if you want. Really good barrel from Broxer to keep cold away. Potentially could have stolen it. Alfari, unfortunately, doesn't have any follow-up because everyone's focusing on killing the Gragas, so he flashes in. Nemesis, who's supposed to be the primary target, gets a Shen ultimate, so Alfari can't kill anyone. He's also only level 15, so he doesn't have that third point in his ult yet. And then that stop from Patrick screws him a little bit. And then Fnatic win the game. Sorry, I'm sorry for making you yawn. I just yawn a lot when I speak a lot. I'm not very good at breathing when it comes to speaking, apparently. So we are. That's the game. So, what are the takeaways? Well, one of the things I think this showcased was that in the early game, Origen continued to get thrown off by the unexpected. I think that they weren't expecting the Shen to go mid. I think there was a point in the game where we saw the Rek'Sai go top for the Kennen and actually get him ahead, and that was like really, really good. But we needed to see that like much earlier on, and Cold unfortunately wasn't able to make anything happen. I think a part of it was just the Shen mid, but on top of that, like Fnatic very clearly had a game plan that they were playing towards, which was just camp mid lane. So Cold was also a little bit limited in what he could do because they didn't gain any priority mid. Because like Rek'Sai Aatrox is supposed to be a really strong 2v2, and if they play against Sylas Gragas, like they can look to set up dive spot. They just need to gain priority mid, but they don't ever get that because the bot lane from Fnatic roams mid, and they shut down Nukeduck. So I think the early game plan was really smart from Fnatic. I thought it did a good job to mitigate like one of the strongest points about Origen's comp. I think later on, Origen wanted to try and find team fights, and I think you can argue due to the lack of engage or how they actually set up the dragons. Either way, like the fights that they wanted never actually happened, which were around dragon, and there were two dragons in particular, the two infernals, when Origen could have had good fights, but their setup wasn't great and they didn't really have any great engage. We definitely saw some mistakes from Fnatic where they were overcommitting. But like, yeah, I felt like this is a pretty good game of League overall. I feel like Origen actually had multiple opportunities, even though Fnatic was the team that was more proactive on the map overall. Origen actually had a lot of good opportunities to make stuff happen, and they were also a little bit unlucky at times. But I thought this was a great game, honestly. I enjoyed it a lot, and I think that the biggest takeaway is that one of the best ways to beat Origen is to like catch them off guard, and I think the plan that Fnatic had enabled them a lot in the early game. But again, like you got to remember that Origen had the gold lead for the vast majority of the game, and that's because of how well Alfari was playing on the Kennen, and like bot, jungle, and top were all ahead in farm. And that's because Fnatic was so invested on getting mid ahead and shutting down Nukeduck, and ultimately it paid off. But if Origen had found a couple of good fights, this game could have very easily swung in Origen's favor. It was just a matter of they couldn't get any of those good fights. And whether that was, like, in my opinion, that was more of a failing on Origen rather than a denial on Fnatic's side, which is why, like, I'm happy to say that Fnatic right now is the second best team in our league, but you can very easily see as well, if this was a best of 5, that this would be closer than it was last split in the third place match, in my opinion. But also, like, both teams are really good. Like, you can see how well they play around the map. We talked a lot about, like, where you invest your vision and how you, like, allocate your resources. And I think Nukeduck, I think we can agree, like, didn't have the best game. He got shut down really hard early, and I think, like, there were moments where he was a bit indecisive. But honestly, it was yeah, I do yawn when I talk a lot. Sorry about that. Sorry, I'm really sorry. I'm also a little tired, which doesn't help. I was up earlier than I had planned this morning. Even with the swap, Shen is not a champ. Like, I mean, this is the thing. See, like, Shen was never going to win side against I don't know what the matchup looks like between Shen and Aatrox. So I can't tell you. All we saw was that early on, the Shen, I think, was a great pick into the Aatrox, but effectively later on, both picks became, like, useless in terms of generating pressure. But ultimately, the Shen had way more value because his ultimate was so useful in finding picks and, like, turning team fights around, right? It's going to be the same narrative as last split. I mean, like, not necessarily, because Fnatic is only getting better, right? But this gives me a lot of confidence going into Rift Rivals. I think all three of our teams are really good. I think they have a really good understanding. Like, this Fnatic reminds me a lot of what we saw last year at 2018. They heavily invest around their mid lane. They play a lot around their mid lane, and then they use those advantages elsewhere on the map. Like, Broxer and Hylissang, that was actually the duo that made Fnatic so good last year at Worlds. Like, a lot of people talk about how talented Caps is, and by all means, Caps is very, very good. But, like, really what made that team good was how Broxer and Hylissang played around Caps and enabled Caps. And now they're doing a very similar thing with Nemesis. And, like, Bwipo is having a better performance, and Reckless is always very, very consistent. So I think Fnatic looks very, very good. And remember, like, that iteration of Fnatic made it to a world final. So if we have that level of communication and coordination return, then there's no reason why Fnatic can't be a world final team again. Question is, can they close the gap against G2? Because that's the thing, right? Fnatic, if we assume, right, I still think this Fnatic can get a little bit better, right? But if we assume that this Fnatic right now is the same level as it was at the world final, then, like, that's great, right? We know the caliber of this team, and then Europe knows that they actually have a team that's above that. So, like, I personally think that the top 3 teams in Europe right now are really good. I think Origen is still really good. And, like, you know, we saw, like, we broke it down. Origen did, like, a lot of really good things. Like, one more good fight. Like, one more 5v5. Where Kennen gets in, ults everyone. This could have been Origen winning this game very easily. This could have been a completely different narrative. Origen is overrated. They're definitely not overrated. They're a good team. I'm more than happy to call them the 3rd best based on their on-stage performance so far, but the only teams they've lost to are G2 and Fnatic. They're not overrated at all. Definitely part of our top 3 teams, without a doubt. But I'm happy calling them 3rd.